Nothing spells composer like summoning a celestial choir, or pretending you're Hans Zimmer with 3 notes and a low-pass filter. Live from the spare bedroom orchestra pit, I'm Kitarraman. Last time we talked woodwinds, today choirs, plus all the instruments that sneak into the orchestra like the bribed security. Missed the last episode? Check my profiles feed. I didn't want to skip choirs just because they're not Orchestra 101. They deserve their moments. My first one was 8dio's Requiem Professional. And when I say I swore by it, I mean it was glued into my template for years. Mostly bubbles, sustains and staccatos. I wasn't interested in the rest. Before that, I tried Miroslav Philharmonic and Kontakt Factory choirs. I've already shared my opinion on Miroslav, and let's say the Kontakt Factory library shares the same level of respect, minus the historical landmark status. Eventually, I got obsessed with finding a good world builder. Hollywood choirs look great, but is Wes player... Let's say I heard horror stories of how hard it was to set up, and I kept my distance. I flirted with Dominus Pro, Olympus, Storm Choir Ultimate, and eventually bought Spitfire's Epic Choir. That one, super budget friendly, and it can even trade punches with libraries way out of its weight class, if wisely programmed. Then came Voxos, gorgeous demos, people raved about it. Yes, this is it. Bought the choir bundle, got Man of the North in the deal, and wow, Man of the North is so disappointing it should come with a warning label. Here's the thing, Voxos demos sound like the gates of heaven opening, until you actually use it and realize the gates are jammed and you need to call St. Peter's locksmith. But in actual use, I discovered all its flaws while working on Votum by Nero Solis. NDA. Can't say much, but I was reversing choir parts, which, trust me, sounds cooler than it reads. And oh boy, did Voxos crack under pressure. The low registry is so quiet, you'd think the men's section is shy and on probation. Staccatos, completely neutered. I had to slap a delay compensation plugin just to get the sound right on the beat. But then latency went through the roof, so recording live was close to impossible. And swapping between World Builder and legato patches, like switching cars and realizing the pedals are reversed. Because the World Builder has the female and male vocal ranges spaced apart, and the legato has them intertwined. Every time I swapped, I forgot and I thought my keyboard was broken. So yeah, Voxos and I broke up. Right around when 8dio dropped Etheria and their all-choir bundle, picked it up and got Insolidus, Lacrimosa, Etheria, Liberis, all the choirs you could ask for. They now live in a separate choral template, like a secret choir bunker I open only when needed. Besides choirs, I sometimes cheat on orchestra with bass, drums and synths. Scarabee was my starter pack. Then I tried the free Ample Sound Precision bass, until I found Modo bass, and now the duo mentioned above resides in a retirement home. For drums, Abbey Road kits were my bread and butter. Particularly Abbey Road Modern Drummer. I tried a few different kits, especially those included in Sample Tongue, but I couldn't configure it to have separate outputs for each piece of the drum kit, so I backtracked to Abbey Road. Now I'm into modo drums. Must have separate outputs for each kit piece. If I can mix a virtual snare like a real snare, I might as well clap into the mic. For synths, I use whatever's fastest. Sometimes I use Massive or Massive X, Vacuum or Vacuum Pro, and sometimes I click around until something explodes. And then I pretend I did it on purpose. For analog synths, Syntronic. For crazy modular stuff, Reactor or Faceplant. And yes, I bought Softtube Modular and still haven't touched it. It's just sitting there, silently judging me. For guitars, I record real ones. I used to use Ample Sound's free acoustic, but now I grab the instrument and hit record. My amp sims of choice are Guitar Rig for cleans, Amplitube or THU for crunch and lead sounds. Then we have the DV-Mark Multiamp, my Tragic X. Truly a remarkable piece of gear, if it wasn't for some caveats. The main reason I stopped using it in the studio was the cab emulator, which required a lot of tinkering to achieve the tone I wanted. Also, when recording, I seldom have the patience to wait for reverb and delay tails to cut off naturally. So, recording the DI and then processing the signal saves me some time. However, ultimately I had to remove it from my signal chain as the manufacturer never fixed some minor bugs. In 2014-15, they announced a few signature models. Then, in 2019, they announced the Smart Multiamp, a device that worked in tandem with an app via Bluetooth, only to disappear entirely from the market. Judging by how often I've spotted a multiamp in some recording studios, I'd say the multiamp was the best kept secret in the guitar world. So well kept, it basically led to its demise. Some users found that the multiamp was running THU models all along, so I decided to get it. Plugins are just easier. Switch amp instantly, freeze effect without losing tails, and avoid that sinking feeling of realizing your hardware will never get the firmware updates it needed. And yes, I own way too many other guitar plugins. Brainworks Friedman, Brainworks Diesel, Softtube Amp Room, you name it. I'll spare you the laundry list. And that's the end of episode 7, the last one in the series. Want to know which libraries will never make it into my template? Leave a comment and find out. I'm Kitarraman, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.